Great the coverage. I appreciate the media. I got a lot of y'all that were with me back when we were in top 10 when you were getting that extra $100 for getting a call in a right about a top 10 team. But you're still talking about A&M basketball. You're writing about A&M basketball. Everything that we do with a purpose. Sometimes we do not live the purpose out like we want to. Is it the opponent or is it us? A little bit of both tonight. You saw the best team in the nation, what everybody has to live up to. That's hard. Like I told the media early, I'm tired of doing me. I'm ready to do we. And we starts with my basketball team first. And as you could tell by my rambling out there, I haven't given much thought to the floor or whatever. When you play number one in the country, you owe it to the game itself to try to live up for that moment. We didn't quite do it, but give South Carolina credit, give Dawn Staley credit. She finally got to play that number one recruiting class in the country with walk-ons. I don't know, she might have ran a couple assistant coaches out there, but they played and they played well. They destroyed us in the paint. We gave too many easy looks. At halftime, they had hit 1 3, and I think they hit a couple in the third quarter. Other than that, it wasn't our best. I'm in charge of the best, you understand? When we don't play our best, don't blame my kids. Blame our teaching and our comprehension of what we try to do on the practice court. So if we're not, I've got great assistant coaches. I've had great assistant coaches. This team just not has gelled like other teams. But it is never too late. It'll take 5 games to win the SEC tournament. But before that, we have to get our confidence back when we play at Athens against University of Georgia. What a great crowd out there tonight. And is that 6'8"?
5'8".
5'8"? I don't think they counted everybody because I've seen TV crowds that are listing 8,000 to 9,000. That was a great crowd. And there were so many people signing autographs and taking selfies that it might have been their first time, but they will be back to either see men's basketball or volleyball in the fall, or they'll see women's basketball next year. And we will be at the highs, but we're not finished this year. We're not finished. Those kids back in that locker room have a lot of pride, and they know this wasn't their best. They're not worried about me. We're worried about getting it done out on the court, playing together. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it does not. I remember in the Marine Corps, I'm over stationed in Okinawa during the Vietnam era, and my beloved Dallas Cowboys were playing the St. Louis Cardinals on TV on a Monday night. We were heavy favorites. We got beat 38-0, and I had to go in and face my Marine Corps buddies after just getting our butts kicked. And sometimes that's what happens in sport. You've got to sit there and look that up. That was had to be the fall of 70 because I got out in December of 70. 38-0 at St. Louis. Sometimes you live with it, sometimes you're able to correct it, and sometimes you move forward. Enough of my ramblings. Let's hear from you. Christy, you get first question.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. This is a really big picture question. It's probably maybe hard to think of right now, but what were you thinking of when, the last buzzer sounded? You knew this was your last game here after everything you've done?
Not the way I envisioned it, not the way we practiced, and we practiced well for 2 days. But You wanted your last game to be not what we or I have done in 50 years, but what we are doing. Done and doing. I wasn't very good in journalism school, but we've done a lot. 16 straight years in the NCAA tournament. But I'm more interested in correcting that word doing, because right now we're not doing very well. And if we're not doing very well, you start with me. I've got to get up every morning and look in the mirror. The answer's in the mirror. Just like it is on us missing easy shots, we missed 5 layups in probably the first 12 minutes because we saw a little bit of shot blockers coming at, and it changes shots. That's what they do, and they do well. But I was thinking about what we built. The hardest thing in sports is to be able to sustain. Whoever would have thought your 3 major sports so far in the women's side, volleyball, soccer, and women's basketball, are not yet in the NCAA. And we're all about championships in women's athletics here. And all those other sports, and hopefully Joe was going to carry that flag for us this year in softball. That's what we want to do. We want to be able to get our team sports back to the NCAAs, and we got the right coaches in place, and we'll get it done in every sport. I rambled through that, Christy, but I appreciate your writing and everything that you're doing.
I appreciate you, and this is one quick follow-up. I mean, I know obviously tonight was not up to your standards of how you wanted to end it, but you talk about your legacy. Dawn Staley opened her press conference by thanking you for everything you've done for women's basketball, and how a lot of men, especially when you started out, didn't care about women's sports, and especially, and just to know that you've influenced people like her and people throughout the country in women's basketball. What does that mean to you?
It means everything. When it comes from your colleagues, it comes from people you looked up to. I'm at Stephen F. My best player's out for the year. We're playing Virginia. Virginia, I think they're number 1. Correct me on this. It would have been 91 or 92. We're playing their butts off with my 6 foot and under team. Tie game because they just waved off a sideline play on a moving screen. Dawn Staley has the ball now. She's got the Birds kids. She's got Tammy Reese. She's got Cardoza. And they still had the kid from Sugarland coming at Dina Evans. She took that ball, drove to the left corner and dumped it off to a wide open post player who short-armed it and made that shot on me. We had our shot, but Dawn Staley created. Dawn has had so many great moments as a player. She said, well, that's just beating little Stephen F. No, we were fixing to beat Virginia. We didn't get it done on the last play. So I give Dawn all the credit. For y'all that do not know what Dawn has done for civil rights in the state of South Carolina, is better than any politician has done in South Carolina. She's brought that state together in South Carolina, and you can tell by the audience, because it's not an all blue-eyed audience. It is the people from South Carolina getting behind the program, and we played in front of 19,000 there and lost by 2. That's what this state can do just as well. And we will find a way to get it done, but I appreciate Dawn, what she is doing across the country, and that's what you've got to do. We've got all these platforms, but the platform of that basketball court, what we can do is the same thing that they used to do with Bird, Magic, and Dr. J and whatever, everybody. We got the platform. We are the best conference in the country, bar none. You didn't see us at our best, and a lot of you have never been here before. But if we're the 13th best team in the country, we would probably be at least in the middle of the pack in a lot of other Power Fives. But so far, we hadn't lived up to it. But my conference has. And my colleagues in my conference are so friggin' good. You talk about the SEC West in football, how about the women's basketball coaches in our league? Pretty damn good. Pretty good. I'm sorry, Christy, I rambled as usual. One of you two great guys here. Hey, Commissioner Sankey, appreciate you stopping by. I got a book for you.
Okay.
It Takes What It Takes by Trevor Moawad, who just passed away.
Andy Staples said it to me.
Yes,
New one.
but read the book called The Gun Lap. If you're on your last lap, what are you going to make it? If you're the last person that's going to get that baton on a mile relay, or if you're that last person, how are you going to write your last chapter? It's not all about sports. It's about completing the chapter. And I got a lot of years to live.
Blair, are you going in there?
We're not,
All right?
hey, I'm fine, baby. We're not closing.
All right.
I will see you tomorrow. Hey,
Yes.
I appreciate you, baby.
Appreciate you too, my boy. You would.
Go.
Gary, understanding, of course, that you still have several games left. But with this being the last home game, I just wonder, you ever experienced the emotional gambit before, like you probably were going through today? And I wonder if it's like leaving mom and dad's home for the first time to go to the Marines or college or something like that.
It's very similar to when I had to tell my kids at South Oak Cliff I was going to the college game after we had just won 114 out of 115 game. It was just like my last day at Stephen F. when I had to tell my Sweet 16 team that I was going to the University of Arkansas. And it was the same feeling when I left Arkansas to come to the bottom team in this league and have a vision, and what Bill Byrne vision and sold me on what we could build. Because I knew I could bring a staff in, I knew I could recruit in Texas, but it's the same type feeling. So now I'm going on to this next chapter, okay? And it's all still about giving back. It's still, I'm not going to go back to write my column, which I did for 20 years, because y'all criticize that. But I want to give back. Kyla's going to teach me how to fish, okay? She had a better year than I did. She was Angler of the Year at Port Aransas this summer and won the Flounder and the Drum Championship. She's going to teach me how to fish because I've got no patience for fishing, but I do for a lot of other things. But that's, I rambled. Go ahead, Robert.
Just even this week, kind of overwhelming for you, considering you're always organized and do everything. It's just been kind of a tough week for you to gauge review.
It's been a killer. It's absolutely been a killer. And I didn't write any notes down till about 3 o'clock this afternoon, or 3:30 after my shoot around. And I said, I'll stand up there like an old man crying if I don't have something to look at. But I wanted to get this team ready for South Carolina. I got the team ready. They just outperformed us. And that's the most disappointing thing. We just didn't get it done. That's all I could think about. There was no way, if you lose a double overtime game, you could completely drop that. You have to correct those mistakes, and you have to go forward. And then all of a sudden, you're playing two of the three best defensive teams in our league, in South Carolina and Georgia, as your next two. And you saw what happened on our scoreboard today.
Gary, what was it like? I'm assuming you heard it, but to hear the students chanting your name in the last 20 seconds of it. game that went that way.
I was just glad they didn't have an eraser and was going to erase my name on that court. No. But we turned on a lot of students, and that might have been the first time that they have seen us play this year. That's all it takes. Back when I was running around with Bruffett out there door to door passing out, that's what I've been doing the last couple of days. I was running to businesses, giving tickets out to take my mind off after practice, to take my mind off the job at hand or to get it home. And that's all I've been doing, was helping pass out tickets, helping marketing, helping my assistant coaches, getting people in here for the first time. Because once we get you for the first time, you'll come back. Not just because of the W's and L's. I've seen football teams get beat by 50 sometimes. They keep coming back because the Aggies, we don't ever give up hope. We find a way in whatever sport, we'll find our way back. Television land?
Your players came in and Kayla was pretty emotional and Destiny had some things about you. What do you hope that the players you've coached take away? They say, what's the one thing you learned from Gary Blair? What do you hope they take away from you?
I told them even before the year started, and I had to make that retirement announcement October the 28th. I changed the pressure more to me than to my team. And I wanted my team to know that I was going to be there for them. I was going to coach every play down to the end. I could take the heat and defer sometimes the lack of, not the lack of talent, but the lack of quality depth that we had last year. Last year, I had more depth than South Carolina had. This year, we didn't have it. So if there was a flat tire with one of my starters, I didn't have that person to be able to come in and give me that instant offense that Pitts gave me last year off the bench, or what Jackson is having to do for the men's team now. I hope that hadn't ruined his Sixth Player of the Year ballot that he should win hands down. But sometimes you just have to go find the hot hand, and hopefully that kid that comes off the bench is not going to make the same mistake that my other kids were making, and that's what happened today. First time Henderson rolled up right there, we went up like we're going to block a 20-footer, and she was laying it up. And, well, we thought we were going to stop it. We didn't come close. You missed deadline already, unless this is going to be taped. Anything else? Let's go home. The traffic is gone. Have a cold one for me tonight, okay?
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.